in the title, we're making a spicy tomato jam. I'm getting tomatoes out of the garden, but not nearly enough, and I've got a couple more to go out and pick I forgot about. I did buy 4 pounds of tomatoes, organic tomatoes from the store. I just decided that I wanted to make enough, and I needed to supplement my own tomatoes. So you're gonna need, for spicy tomato jam, and this is what I do, is you want a large onion. Onion, when it cooks down and caramelizes a little bit, when it cooks down with this, it turns into the best jam. So you want at least 1 large onion. It adds another element of flavor in this. It makes it a little more savory, but then you've got the sweet, and I use brown sugar. I'm gonna have cumin in there. I'm gonna have a little bit of clove, salt, jalapeno peppers. Now it's up to you whether you want to seed them or you want to leave them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to seed them and take the membrane off, that white pith, and get rid of that, and then I'll decide later how many red pepper flakes I add, because I will be adding that. And then you're also going to need garlic. And this is a sweet and savory jam. It's great to use as an hors d'oeuvre. You want if you like sun-dried tomatoes and that concentrated tomato flavor, you're gonna love this because it's so good. Take a BLT to the next level. In the middle of winter, when you don't have fresh homegrown tomatoes, you pull out that tomato jam, add some bacon to it and some lettuce. Oh, good Lord, it's so good. Anyways, so guys, I hope you enjoy this recipe. I hope that, oh, and I forgot, I'm gonna need a little bit of ginger, and that adds a little bit more heat, but in the different direction, and a little bit of lemon juice. So that being said, we're gonna get started. And as I go, I'll try to bring you along for the exact recipe. And these aren't exact measurements, so you can tweak this any way you like. If you don't like onions and they bother you, don't put an onion in. If you don't want jalapenos, don't put them in. Make just plain onion jam. There's tons of recipes out there. So, but let's get started because this is delicious. I'm gonna get all these tomatoes chopped up. Now, I'm gonna cut them all up with their skins on. If you leave the skins on, the nutrient level is up. It's got more lipine, I think it's called. It's got more of the antioxidants that you need. When you skin it, it's not near as good for you, and it breaks down in the jam. You never know it's there. And so really and truly, if you can eat the skins of most vegetables, you should really try, because that's where a lot of the nutrients are, and there's tons of articles on the web, so go ahead and Google that. I'm gonna leave the skins on the jalapeno as well, just not the onion or the ginger or the garlic. So now we're gonna go ahead and get these all chopped up, rough chopped, because I will take, if I need to, I'm either gonna take the potato masher or the immersion blender and get it blended up. This is gonna simmer on the stove for over an hour until it becomes a jam. I'm not gonna add any pectin. So for every pound of fruit that you have, you need at least a half a cup of sugar. And that sounds like a lot of sugar, but it's really not. You're gonna need it for that jammy quality. And you're not eating a jar of jam, you're eating a tablespoon. Okay, this is great over a little bit of goat cheese, a bruschetta, make a sweet and savory one, yum. All right guys, let's get to work, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to start cooking. So we're back, and I've got everything chopped up. I have all the tomatoes except for a couple here. I reserved a couple for sandwiches. All a rough chop. These tomatoes are gonna break down. So there's 8 pounds of tomatoes in here, and then I put 4 cups of packed brown sugar. So you want a half a cup of sugar per pound. And then we're gonna need lemon juice. And I'm gonna add 1/3 of a cup here. Let's make it 2/3 of a cup. You can always add more sugar, but I wanna raise the acidity because I'm not quite sure of the acidity with my tomatoes and those organic tomatoes I bought. We're gonna need some ground clove. Now, if you don't have ground clove, you could put whole clove in there and then fish them out. But I just want just barely 1/4 of a teaspoon. This is very strong. That's a very strong spice. We need a teaspoon or 2 of salt. We'll put 2 in there. You need some salt. And then we're gonna go for some cumin. And I love cumin. Oh. And cumin, 1 heaping and 1 level tablespoon of cumin. Hope you're writing this down. And like I said, you can twist this any way you want. And then on this cutting board, I have 3 very large jalapenos that I seeded and took that pithy membrane out. 8 cloves of garlic and about 2 heaping tablespoons of chopped up fresh ginger. And I really encourage you to use fresh ginger, not powdered. It makes a difference and it gives a different element. If I had shallots, I would even add shallots in here. So scrape all that in, and it says a chop and drop. And then this is gonna simmer on the stove for an hour or 2. And then the onion. A lot of recipes don't call for an onion, but I like the way it breaks down. And sometimes I caramelize it first and then add the tomatoes, but this time I'm gonna do it all together. And the onions break down, they're all gonna go together, excuse me. And I got an itch in my nose. This barely can fit in this 6-quart Dutch oven. I could have got my 12-quart out, but this is going to be on the stove for a couple of hours, so it's quite all right. It will come down. And that's really all you're going to do. You're going to bring this up to a simmer and just let it simmer and bubble and simmer and reduce. And when it's done some of that, I'll bring you over to the stove and I'll show you what's going on. All right. I'm excited.
Okay.
Are you guys excited? Let's look. Ooh, look at that tomato jam. It's coming along. It's got to reduce some more, but it's beautiful. It smells amazing. And I will tell you, I forgot, when I put this all together, I forgot the cinnamon. I do add a half a teaspoon of cinnamon to this mix, and it smells amazing, and it's steaming up the lens. So what I'm gonna do now, because it has cooked down, I mean, it was full. It's cooked down and reduced. I'm gonna go ahead, because it's been going for about an hour, and because these weren't all like plum or Roma tomatoes, it's gonna have to cook longer and to get jammy. But be patient. In about a half hour, I'm gonna put the immersion blender to it, because if I do it now, it's gonna glop and splat and make a mess, and I don't really want that. I just want it to continue to simmer hard and evaporate and become delicious. Okay guys, we are ready. And this jam is so thick and delicious. And don't judge your taste profile by what it is when you first start. And I'm gonna tell you, this is the next morning. I cooked this down for like 2 hours and it still wasn't this thick, jammy consistency that I wanted. And so I thought, you know, I'm just gonna let it cool down and I'll start over in the morning. So it has cooked an additional hour. This took a total of 3.5 hours to get to this jam consistency, and that's only because my tomatoes were not paste tomatoes. If you want it to go faster, use plum tomatoes. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my gosh. And let me tell you, the taste has changed by letting it sit. It is absolutely wonderful. So I've got my vinegar water over here. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe the remnant. My jars are hot from the dishwasher. And look, it hasn't even settled. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it hasn't even settled into itself and leveled out very much. It's very thick and hot. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and grab us a lid. And these are little 4-ounce jars. I don't know if I said it in the last clip, but I'll be doing sampler packs, so I'm gonna do a couple of these. And for people that are a little skeptical, that's a great way to go. This goes in a canner and gets water bath canned with the rest of the jars. I'm gonna set that aside so I can load this little guy up. And I might even do 3 out of this batch, because I think I'm only gonna give my daughter one of these, because she's like, tomato jam? I could hear that in her voice. I don't think she's convinced how good it is. And I tried to explain it to her. I said, if you think of marinara, a really good marinara, a delicious salsa, and a jam, all put into one, and maybe even a sun-dried tomato in there, it's kind of that, all those flavors right into one. I don't know how else to explain it. It is so good. Put this on a BLT instead of tomato in the wintertime. And I've got a couple ideas for some really good hors d'oeuvres for the holidays. So that's what I'll be using mine for. Anyway, also has a condiment for beef, for pork, chicken, anything. It's delicious. Okay, one more jar and then I'm gonna let you go. These are gonna go in the water bath canner for 20 minutes. Because of my altitude, I always add 10 minutes. And look how thick. You can see it, how thick it is going into the jar. It's just fantastic. So, 1/4 inch of headspace. 20 minutes once it comes up to a boil. And then after that, ooh, that one's a little full. After that 20-minute mark, then we'll turn the burner off, take the lid off, and let it sit for 5 minutes, and then go ahead and, I had to taste that. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's really got a caramelized flavor to it too. I don't know how else to explain that. Delicious. Okay, so after the 20 minutes, let it stand for 5 minutes, and then you're ready to pull them out of the jars, and that's when I'll see you next. So fingertip tight, don't crank on them. I watched somebody crank on jars last night, and I was like, should I comment? I left it alone. I mean, they did a few things that I didn't agree with, but so that being said, don't go by somebody else's instructions and not even my video. Do your own research, get yourself a bulk canning book, and so you can safely. And even on mine, I'm just giving you a guideline of what I'm doing and what procedures look like. All right, guys, let's get to the canner. Well, guys, they're all out of the canner, and I did this canning session before I got in the shower this morning. So guys, all the jars are out of the canner, and I took them out before I got in the shower. So I got 8 12-ounce jelly jars full of this delicious jam, and I mean, it is so thick. I saved the remainder that was left in a ramekin for you so you can see how thick it is. It won't even run out. It's just thick. And I got 1/2 pint jar for my samples at work, and then I also have 2 little 4-ounce jars that I'm going to save for my Christmas samplers or holiday samplers, if you will. And in this one you can actually see, let's see if I can just get that up there. Can you see how thick that is? I mean, it's just beautiful. It is so pretty. Okay, so let me give you a taste. And here's the spoon. So let's show you how thick this is. It takes forever to drop off that spoon. It's a beautiful, beautiful jelly. Well, jam, I should say, not jelly. Jelly would be if it was clear and strained and all that. So I'm gonna take a bite for you. I can't wait. There's just a little back heat. It's perfect. And then the sweet comes next. But the first thing I taste is a caramelized flavor. So it really cooks down and caramelizes and gets that caramelized onion sweetness that you're used to. I highly recommend this. If you've never had tomato jam, oh my gosh, tomato jam is the best. Oh, it's so good. Now I just want to have another spoonful. I'm telling you, it's addicting. So if this inspires you to make your own tomato jam out of your garden tomatoes or farmer's market or just a grocery store of organic tomatoes that you trust, that you know are going to be delicious, and especially those ones that are on the markdown rack, if you get those, they make fantastic jam. Now, I will give you that this took hours to cook down because these were so juicy. So the drier the tomato, aroma or a paste tomato would be better, and you would probably get it done in an hour to an hour and a half. Mine usually with Roma's takes about an hour and a half to cook down, but I'm super happy with what I got. I can't wait to do it again. And this was a great way to use up about 10 pounds of tomatoes and put good use to my garden stuff. I have a whole colander full of zucchini and tomatoes waiting for me from this morning's pick. So guess what we're making next? Zucchini bread. And I'm gonna put my own little twist on it, maybe give you a new idea on an old favorite, and let me tell you, it comes out moist and delicious every time. And we'll be freezing this back for future use. So I'm gonna make 2 loaf pans, and I hope I see you in the next video. If you aren't a subscriber, I hope you subscribe. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I believe it's down here, and go up in the iCard above and check out the videos that I've left for you, and maybe I'll leave a poll card and see what else you might want to see in the near future, and you can put your vote, cast your vote, and leave your comment below. All right guys, as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.